Look, I'm not gonna...
Do it!
I'm Stan and I was wrong. I'm singing the Stan wrong song. I shouldn't have taken that chance. Now here's my remorseful dance.
Do the kicks! Jazzier!
Hello everybody, my name is Morgan and welcome to Beaker Barnes. Today we are talking about WandaVision. We're doing a little retrospective. We're talking about my favorite moments of WandaVision. Yes, I'm aware the show ended 3 weeks ago. It's fine, it's whatever. You guys don't come here for consistent content, you come here for okay content. But before we jump into the WandaVision retrospective, make sure to like, follow, subscribe if you're not already. Follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter, follow me on TikTok. All of those links are down below. And now, we're talking WandaVision. So, get this out of the way. There was no Fantastic Four. All of my theories were wrong. But it's fine. It's fine. We're fine. No one was Mephisto, except maybe everyone was Mephisto. Who knows? Not me. I know nothing. But I do know enough to say that I liked it. What am I talking about? So, retrospective. Outside of all of our theories were wrong. I loved this show, man. This show was so incredible. And I love Wanda. You guys know that I love Wanda. She's probably my favorite comic book character of all time, at least in my top 5. And to see her get this love and this treatment of such a deep and character-driven show, I couldn't have asked for more. It was just beautiful and everything about it was incredible. But to me, the thing that I loved so much about it was how it portrayed grief, especially in the way that we are right now with the global panorama, with the Backstreet Boys reunion tour. It's so exciting to see this portrayal of grief that allows the space for Wanda to be angry and upset and ultimately to come out of it with this message of I need to be the best part of myself because that's what my loved ones would want. They wouldn't want me to still live in the past. They'd want me to be better. And I think about Vision's line of what is love what is grief if not love preserving. And that's just so beautiful. And I think that's just the perfect thesis of the show, really. And God, it's great. It was great. That exploration was so powerful to me as a viewer. And it made me love this character even more than I thought I could. And Elizabeth Olsen is just fantastic. Where is her Emmy? Television Academy, give it to her. Bring it. Give it. She needs it. She requires it. It belongs to her. That was great. I love TV shows exploring grief, and I love that the TV shows now are going to have this space to be super character driven. As of right now, when I'm filming this, we've only seen one episode of The Falcon and Winter Soldier. When this is released, the second one will be out, but I'm sure it's going to kind of follow the same path of these stories that let us sympathize with the characters. Like before, with the OG 6 Avengers, we had to have 4 movies before we actually figured out who these characters were, because we were not given time to focus intimately on what they wanted and what they cared about. And I think that's really, really powerful, is that now going into Multiverse of Madness, the audience is going to understand who Wanda is even more. They're going to sympathize with her on another level. Like, I love that all the response to this show was, yeah, Wanda may be a villain, maybe she did enslave all of Westview, but that was her right, you know? Like, we all cared about her. And that's so cool. I don't think I've ever come out of a Marvel movie really caring about a character without knowing anything prior to them, without any comic backstory. Like, I think that's really, really powerful, is that now there's this medium to tell these stories. And especially with such high budget. Like, I wasn't a particular fan of the final episode. The final episode was really just like giving me Iron Man 2. It was a lot of CGI, a lot of just single person shots, but you know, Backstreet Boys reunion tour. That was how they had to film that. But even still, I think that's on the budget of something more higher scale, of something more grand on a next level. Like, this isn't what we were seeing on like the CW or like with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where we just kind of had to hope that the CGI was going to be okay. You know, this was Marvel level. This was blockbuster level. And like, that's great, you know? I love that this age of consuming and this age of creation, we can have high concept, high budget television shows that are television shows, you know, that are allowed to be television shows, that are allowed to be paced like television shows. Like, all of that is just incredible. It's revolutionary. It's a truly new way of telling stories and of telling superhero stories. I'm always gonna love the MCU because the MCU is always going to be this incredibly unique way of telling stories. And like or hate the MCU, with Endgame and with the end of the Infinity Saga, they've done something that nobody has ever done before in the history of cinema, is tell a cohesive narrative in film over 10 years. Like, that's incredible. And now that they're branching out to be able to do that with TV and with movies, it's exceptional. It's such a unique and new way of storytelling. And I'm so excited as both a creator and a lover of these stories and of this style of filmmaking and of making movies and TV shows, that this is how we're going. Like, that's dope as hell, you know? That's the best thing I've ever seen. That's the best thing I've ever heard of, best thing I've ever seen. Mwah. I love it. Just, it's so good. Other things I love. I think my favorite episode was probably the pilot, was probably the 50s episode. And I know that this is kind of crazy because you're like, Morgan, why do you love this episode so much when you know episode 8 exists? And episode 8 truly is remarkable, and I'm going to talk about episode 8. But I loved the first episode, especially with watching the documentary, like the making of WandaVision. I loved it so much because I loved the different techniques that they employed to tell that story. I loved the fact that they consulted Dick Van Dyke. Like, that's so cool. That is so cool. Oh my god, like, they were like, hey, how did you tell your story? How did you do this? We're gonna do it like that. Exceptional. And also the little styles of filmmaking and styles of making TV that they stole from the 50s, and that they transplanted from I Love Lucy and from the Dick Van Dyke Show to make it feel authentic was really, really powerful and really authentic to the medium, because it felt like I was watching an episode of the Dick Van Dyke Show or the I Love Lucy show. Like, I remember when I first watched it with a friend of mine, both of us had seen episodes of the Dick Van Dyke Show. She'd grown up watching the Dick Van Dyke Show, and we were tracing how the house looked, and we said to each other, that's the Dick Van Dyke Show set. That's exactly what that kitchen looked like. And that tiny detail, those homages that they made, were so impactful for how they're telling the story and for building the narrative that this is Wanda transplanting herself into her favorite TV shows. That's just such a small detail that most audiences aren't going to pick up on, but it makes a world of difference. And then also, once reality kind of shifts in the 50s, the use of the Twilight Zone camera techniques, of the harsh zooms and to set everything off, was incredible. I'm such a big fan of the Twilight Zone. It's one of those shows that I can just put on whenever anything's happening, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch the Twilight Zone, and it's great. Rod Serling, icon. And that little homage is, again, selling this story in a style that is authentic to the 60s and to the 50s, the 50s rather. And that is such a great point and great use of the media. And truly, like, the medium is the story. And I think nothing exemplifies that more than each genre of WandaVision, is that each genre knew what they were doing, was authentic, and, each decade knew what they were doing and was authentic and was true to that decade to make the audience, and therefore Wanda, feel at home with that style and with the narrative they were telling. And I think another great aspect of that is with the theme songs that we've all been bopping to by Kristen and Robert Lopez, is that each one of those are authentic to the time period and authentic to how music was produced then, that makes the world a difference, because it's, again, all about this immersion. And I think that they do immersion so well, and that's going to be a thing that I think is only going to be unique to WandaVision, is this style of immersion and this style of homage and honoring the TV that came before it. It's incredible. It's such a great way. Incredible, Tally. How many times have I said incredible? But it really is just revolutionary and such a great way to tell this story. And a way that I've been wanting this story to be told for such a long time. Like, let's jump into episode 8. I've been wanting to know about the Scarlet Witch's backstory in the movies and to see that developed ever since 2015. Like, hold up. Like, this right here is my ticket stub for when I saw Age of Ultron. I saw it opening weekend, and like you can see it's all like yellow and faded because I've had it for so long. And ever since then, ever since there was that brief little bit of backstory about the bomb exploding and they just waited for Tony Stark to kill them, I've been wanting more. I've been saying that it's not enough to just tell us. We need to feel Wanda's backstory. And that episode was everything that I have been wanting for 6 years. And I think it was everything that a lot of fans of the Maximoff twins have been wanting for so long. And to fully sympathize with Wanda and to feel her pain and to understand her whole backstory was so beautiful. And like that's the episode that should get Lizzie Olsen her Emmy. It really is. Because she is doing some hard work there, both in each version of Wanda that she is portraying and getting back into who was I, who was she, what did she know, what didn't she know then, is such a great touch. And then the way that story climaxed with Vision buying the deed to a house for the two of them, and with the heart on the land plan to grow old in, and then the shift to the 50s was some of the best filmmaking ever I have ever seen. I think it is so powerful and just a complete emotional roller coaster of how much sympathy you feel for this character. Like, even if you do not have an emotional attachment to her, you feel that loss and you feel that grief that she feels. I especially loved the callback to the Infinity War line of "I just feel you" to then "I can't feel you." I think that is another brilliant moment of Marvel storytelling, because Marvel relies on, you've seen Infinity War, you remember Infinity War, and yes I have, and yes I do, and I remember that line, and I remember how much, when I saw that in the theaters with Infinity War, how much that broke me, because their relationship is so impactful. As a longtime fan of the two of them, and of the two of them in their comics, and then also in their MCU counterparts, that line is so simple and so powerful, and then to have it played again, to really feel the loss of the Vision, revolutionary, incredible, never been done before, never seen before, mwah, chef's kiss, live for it, love for it. And so then from the "I can't feel you" to then her going to Westview, going to the house that Vision had bought for her, for them, you really feel it. You feel how this is a woman who lost everything, and she can never get that back. And that's just so crushing. It really is. It's so crushing. It's just, I'm so glad we had it. I'm so glad that, the Kevin Feige took the risk to tell this story, took the risk to tell a rom-com, basically, about the Scarlet Witch and the Vision. That, the amount of trust you have to have in your audience to be able to tell that story and to be able to believe that they are going to be with you on that journey, it's incredible. It's revolutionary. She is the moment.
And she is the moment. Now, come on now.
It's beautiful, show-stopping, talented, incredible, like, all of those things, that's what it is. Can we talk about the comics homages? Now that we can, we're gonna do it. Shift, comic homages time. I loved in the 60s episode that their magician counterparts were called Glamour and Illusion, because those are their friends and their neighbors from the 1985 Vision and Scarlet Witch annual run. So that was a nice little detail. I loved all of the different panel references. I love that we got White Vision. If he comes back in Multiverse of Madness and we get these panels, I will not be okay. We'll leave it at that. But I loved this moment of, like, even a synthezoid can cry, and of Wanda coming and hugging her boys, and all of those little like homages that they made to the comics and to the people in the comics. I love that we saw the Salem 7. Like, they weren't called the Salem 7, but when Agatha's being tried for being a witch, those are the Salem 7. Another reference to the 85 annual run. Those are the people that burn Agatha alive. Those are her family that do that. And that's a great little moment to see that for me as a comics fan. I was like, oh, look at that. That's who they are. That's them. You know, I hope we get Agnes back, because like I said, the Fantastic Four are coming. They're coming. And I'd like to see Agatha come back as Franklin Richards' nanny. I think that'd just kind of be funny that they're like, oh, here's our ghost nanny. Probably won't happen, but you know, I want more Catherine Hahn in the MCU. So like those little moments where they're just kind of paying homages to those comics and to those comics that I love so much were great. It was nice to see that there was some treatment of the source material in a very honoring way, you know? Could have gone farther, you know? Scarlet Witch is Jewish, you know? Jewish and Romani. I really didn't care for the line about that she was dressed up as a Sokovian fortune teller, but some great Jewish and Roma creators have talked about that more. I've seen a lot of great coverage on that on TikTok, so I will link some TikToks down below if you want to figure out or learn more about why that line was offensive and done in really poor taste. And before you come jumping at me, I know that Wanda's mother, the original Scarlet Witch, was a fortune teller. That's also still racist, you know? That's whether or not she was or is not, it's still a Romani stereotype, you know? So that's not great. I wish that once we finally were confronted with why the Maximoffs joined Hydra, her excuse still wasn't, we wanted to change the world. You know, it could have been really easy to be like, oh, we didn't know that this was Hydra. It could have been, like, you could have done literally anything to try to justify why the Jewish people are joining a Nazi organization, but, you know, anti-Semitism, I guess. It's still a big issue, and I'm not above criticizing the things that I like, so, you know. But still, I think, yeah, but still, I loved it. I really did. And that's all I have to say. I think it's great. I love to see Wanda become the Scarlet Witch. I love to see her referred to as the Scarlet Witch. I loved that she was confirmed as more powerful than the Sorceress Strange. Because, yeah, exactly, she is, period. Like, I'm so excited for Multiverse of Madness, where we're finally going to see her in her full power. We're going to see Stephen Strange in his full power. I hope we get a more in-depth exploration, like, of the multiverse, of her she's gonna get her kids. She's gonna come and grab Billy and Tommy, and they're gonna probably be teenagers, so we get Young Avengers and gay rights. Overall, my feedback, my thoughts on WandaVision, a resounding yes. If you've stuck around this long, because I don't know how I'm gonna edit this, but this was probably mostly rambling about how much I loved this show. Let me know what your thoughts were on WandaVision. Again, leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'd be so excited to hear what you guys thought. As always, my links are down below. Feel free to follow. Feel free to reach out to me on Twitter or Instagram and let me know what you thought there. I'll probably respond. So yeah, stick around. Next week we are talking the Snyder Cut because I watched it. I sat down, did all 4 hours of it, and I've got some thoughts. So we're gonna talk Snyder Cut next week, and I'll see you then. Bye!